Oh, we should definitely get rid of that.
Okay, alright, ready? It's
Hannah,
really heavy.
I
I don't
think
know about that. I wish I was older and stronger already, Rachel.
that would be helpful with moving that, but at least there's lots of other ways God can use us even when we're young.
That's true.
I know this is one really great story in the Bible.
I guess we should learn about it
I
today.
think we should.
Oh, this family tree is getting pretty big.
Yeah, and it's about to get a whole lot bigger.
How?
Well, Joseph, who we learnt about earlier, his family were known as the Hebrews.
But hang on, in my Bible they were called the Israelites.
The Hebrews and Israelites are the same group of people. They just get called different things during different times. They lived in Egypt for over 400 years, and they grew into a whole nation of people. Long after Joseph passed away, a new pharaoh took control of Egypt.
Right, and Joseph was friends with the last pharaoh. He worked really closely with him.
True, the pharaoh was the ruler of Egypt, like how we have a king or queen. When one pharaoh died, another would take their place, and the new pharaoh didn't like the Israelites.
What did they ever do to him?
Well, nothing really, but the pharaoh was afraid that the Israelites were becoming too powerful and was worried they would take over Egypt.
Which would mean the pharaoh would be out of a job, hey?
Exactly. So the pharaoh made a rule that all Israelites would be slaves so that he could control them. He was so horrible to them that he made another rule that every Israelite boy that was born was to be killed.
The pharaoh must have been pretty scared. I mean, what would little babies have done?
It was very cruel, but even though things looked hopeless for the Israelites, God still kept his promises to Abraham.
Wait, Abraham? But that was weeks ago.
And hundreds of years in biblical times.
Oh.
What were the 3 promises God made Abraham?
That his family would have their own land, that they would be as numerous as the stars, and that someone in Abraham's family would bless the whole world.
Well, the second promise had come true. The Israelites were a huge group of people, all from Abraham's family.
But what about the first promise, the one about the land? Weren't the Israelites slaves? I'm pretty sure slaves don't own land.
Well, now that the Israelites were as numerous as the stars, it was coming to the time where God needed someone to help lead his people to the promised land. This person was Moses. This leads us to today's story, which is in Exodus 2 in the Bible.
Moses was born when the Pharaoh had made the rule about killing all of the Hebrew children. So Moses' mother placed him in a basket on the side of the Nile River where he was hidden in the reeds.
Miriam, his sister, watched him from a distance. She saw the Pharaoh's daughter go down to the river's edge and found the basket with Moses inside. The Pharaoh's daughter saw Miriam and paid her to make sure Moses was looked after.
When Moses had grown older, Miriam took him to see the Pharaoh's daughter and he became her son.
Moses grew up like royalty in Egypt, as he was seen as part of the Pharaoh's family. One day, when he was an adult, he saw the Israelite slaves being hurt by an Egyptian. Moses was so angry that he hurt the Egyptian man, which made the Pharaoh mad.
Moses ran from Egypt to a place called Midian. He lived there for many years, but eventually felt God tell him to go back to Egypt to help the Israelites escape from the Pharaoh.
This story is a long one, so we're going to read some more in the next episode.
Phew, that was a lot. There's a lot of brave people in that story. Moses' mother would have been so afraid he was going to be hurt, but trusted God by hiding him in the river.
And Miriam was so courageous for keeping an eye on her brother and making sure he was protected by the Pharaoh's daughter.
God knew he wanted to use Moses as part of his big plan, so he used lots of other people to keep Moses safe. Just like God used people in today's story. God has a plan for you, and you're never too young to be used by God.
It's not always easy though. Sometimes when things are hard, it's easy to forget that God can use us, but we can trust that God will use us in our tough times for his good.
See, I love how that story reminds us that God uses people no matter what their age.
It's true. There's still lots of things that I can do to help clean up, and someone else can do this, and one day I'll be strong enough to do
Absolutely.
it. Just not today, and that's okay.
Do you want to do the sweeping?
I'll do the sweeping.
Great.
Sounds good.